companies have to train. You want to get the millennial thing. Millennials want love and belonging, interdependence, meaning because they want to feel like they're involved in something, they want purpose. Well, what gets you to purpose is when your leader leads. And when you have a clear value system and you use it to train people, you can be a leader, which is what you said in that car video I watched where you're ranting about training. I love it.
Love and belonging, and what else?
So
interdependence.
We'll use these words. It's easier. So, like, respect and skill. When you respect your employee by listening to them and getting to know them, and then you show them what you're telling them to do and then teach them, they have respect for you. They believe in it, and when they do it, because they believe in you and it, they get more self-respect. But you got to respect them before they respect you, and if they don't respect you, they won't listen. That's why school doesn't work, because we don't respect the teacher.
Why is that?
Because think of your favorite teacher. Was your favorite? Did you have a favorite teacher?
Sure.
Okay. Did they take time ever to get to know you?
Sure they did.
Okay. After that happened, were you more likely to listen?
Indeed.
Thank you. It's very difficult, number one, to get to know 20 students.
Have you ever read the book How to Win Friends and Influence People?
I've read 1,000 books in the last 4 years.
Was that one of them?
Yes, sir.
How to Win Friends and Influence People?
Yeah.
What's the bottom line in that book?
I would say that
It's listen to people.
100%, and there's
Like if I walked up to you and I wanted to win you as a friend and influence you, I would ask you a few questions about yourself, and then I'd shut up and listen and just keep you talking about yourself. After about an hour, I'd walk away and you'd go, I like that dude.
100%.
So
100%.
same thing with the teacher. The ones that listen actually listen to you. And what about parents? Some parents don't listen to you. They're too busy watching what you do instead of listening to what you say.
100%. Like this conversation that we're having, if it would be completely turned around with an employee, like I don't have the respect to talk at them yet, just because I have a title.
So if I brought you in here and
Yeah.
said, hey, let's help me establish this culture deeper, what would you do? What are your first steps?
Find it is part one. That's an audit.
You gotta find it.
Yeah, and what that it is figuring out who the real Brad Lea is. Like really. That's the foundation. And there's steps within that. There's understandings within that. See, this is where it
How
does.
does it take?
I'll be honest with you. It's dependent upon the teacher or the student, right? The mentor and the mentee. So it's not for everybody. Like
Yeah, but the reason I'm asking is because the bomb squad, which are people that listen to this podcast.
Got it.
A lot of them are out there hustling, building businesses. You know, they're listening in for little tips, tricks, things that can
100%.
Fix a challenge or a problem that they're having. And sometimes it's a podcast about things that they should be thinking about. Now, I'm a firm believer that they should be thinking about creating a culture in their organization, because without culture, you have a big issue. I believe. May not be true.
Oh, no. It is true.
All
It
the
is
people
true.
that, to me, have kick-ass companies, have kick-ass cultures. You walk in there, man, they shit, live, breathe, sleep the company. You know, they'll show up on the weekends without bitching and complaining. They hang out with each other
100%.
usually. There's it's almost like a family. You can interchange culture for family.
This is not the place, but there's 50 variables that I broke down. There's 50 components that I know enough to build it's a cult-like following. And I use that word very, very purposefully. Because
I just don't feel a culture here. Do you? See what I mean? It's like, and I say, hey, this is what I believe. I'm doing something wrong.
Well, what the hell
I might need to hire you.
Obviously, we're going to work together, and both sides of that, 100%. I love you. You're great.
I need your
You're a
help,
great
more
guy,
importantly.
man.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, seriously.
And quite frankly, I agree with you.
No, that troubles me.
Like people that work here, in my opinion, should be really thankful they work here, and a lot of them aren't.
Yeah.
Well, it seems that they aren't. I don't know what they're thinking.
Well, wait,
I don't walk around
let's go back
and
really
listen
quick.
enough to them.
Let's go back really quick.
I'm not a big hugger. Like I don't sit down and like, interesting. Tell me about that.
Okay.
I basically say, dude, you're getting a paycheck. Do this job.
Okay, so how does that make the student feel if they're in the math class and the teacher talks?
Probably like they're uncared for.
You're a smart guy.
Yeah,
I appreciate you.
but I do. But at the same time, I'm also, look, dude, like when someone wins, I'm like, good for you. But if I'm paying you to win, and then you want a big pat on the back when you win, it's like, dude, the pat on the back is your fucking paycheck.
So it's not a pat on the back. It's not. Yeah, maybe you. Are you gonna boing it?
No,
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna lower the volume
Oh yeah, I get
so
excited.
they can't hear my fade.
Oh. A pat on the back, right, or that whole medal ideology that's going around for people that aren't winning, they're getting medals. That's not creating the alignment that you want. It's them feeling respected because they're listened to, and they're also learning. So you can't just give them the time where you're listening to them. You got to be able to teach them.
So if you don't want to listen to them, because most of the shit they say is stupid, you're just hiring the wrong people.
Well, wait,
You should be hiring people that you don't mind listening to.
Well, so let's go back to step one. If you haven't found it, it's hard. You're never going to find the right children, Brad. You raise them.
Yeah.
You're going to attract.
Create them.
Yes. Okay. So.
Yeah, but I'm missing something because again, I'm laying down the culture. I'm telling people, listen, have integrity. You know, like
That's the problem.
We're helping people win here. We're bringing the knowledge from the people who have it
100%.
to the people who need it. So that includes dads that can't afford Christmas presents. Like, we're going to help those people. Who wouldn't want to help those people? We're going to help sisters be better sisters, moms be better moms, kids be better kids, students be better students, entrepreneurs be better entrepreneurs. Like, who is not behind that? Like, isn't that like just awesome?
That's great.
Yeah. So how come there's people here, or at least I don't feel that people come to work to do that job. I think they're coming to work to earn their paycheck.
So let's look at this. Is everything that I've said, like the meetings and
we
the
don't,
clarity?
We don't do meetings. I got a big sign that says less meetings, more doing.
Got it.
Otherwise, everybody's always in a fucking meeting.
And that's a great point. That's a great
know
point.
people that were having meetings to have meetings. Like, there was
100%.
a meeting to plan a meeting. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, guys, let's just do more work and less meetings. So now we don't really have.
I love you.
Is that a problem?
Well, think about it. We went from one extreme to next. You know, I'm going to try starving myself for 30 days, Brad.
We have one general meeting every on the first of every month.
Okay.
And then we talk about what's happening, what's going on,
Okay.
the wins.
Yeah.
You know, we tell everybody whose birthday's that month.
Yeah. That's cute.
Throw
That's
a few
cute.
jokes. Talk about our progress.
How long is that?
Talk about our
meeting?
goals, and then we're done. About 20, 30.
And who's involved in that meeting?
Everybody.
Okay. That meeting is for the strategic leadership that are the, for example, you have your let's say your operations and your marketing and sales, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those leaders of those divisions are in that meeting only. And that meeting, you're going to pick 2 to 3 topics, and you're going to focus in on those topics with them.
So no general meeting with the whole company. Those meetings are for leadership, and leaders go have their own little.
What gets them going is that morning huddle for a couple minutes, where it's So
if you walk around your organization, you don't see morning huddles going on. What do you do?
Well, then you ask, how are the Marines doing it? And they do it through small teams, through leadership, and they have those. And they win wars, for God's sake. And you can't get your people to show up on time, or you can't get them to show up in purpose. You got a problem, sir. Hello, but this is the thing. Not necessarily anyone's fault. We're just coming out of this industrial age where that was okay to pay people, and then they were all right. They're just going to jack
Where do you live?
I live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm an international citizen.
There's a police officer that's out in Bethlehem.
Oh, yeah, I know that area.
Yeah, if you guys heard of him, he follows me on social media. I followed him back. He's a cop. I always wanted to be a cop. At Ink Monster, I believe. At Ink_Monster. Go check him out.
Okay.
If you're listening to this, Ink Monster, you got a fellow citizen here. Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it's very
Pittsburgh,
Central
Philly.
City. It's like 30 minutes.
Yeah, so he wants me to go out there and do ride along anytime.
Oh, really?
That'd be sweet. Anyway, not to get
We
off
should do
topic.
that. That's a good culture.
How do I get the culture to be thick as thieves up in here? By the way, if you hear a speech impediment, it's because I got a freaking tooth that has a little jagged edge.
That's still happening?
I get it fixed tomorrow.
All right.
But I keep hearing a speech impediment. People are gonna be like, "What's going on?"
Here's a simple thing people can do. They have a company, and they want we follow the greats, right? Grant talks about sales. Yeah, man, without the sales, there's no business.
Grant has a culture. Have you been to his office?
Remember, the word is alignment. Yes, it's very aligned.
Yeah, it's very aligned.
Yeah, now,
Now,
yep.
Culture to me is not when I'm in the room, everybody's chanting the same things I want to hear, and then when I walk out, they're looking and rolling eyes at each other.
That would be the wrong culture alignment.
Right, that's a poison culture.
Yeah.
Culture to me is when I'm not around, they're perpetuating the beliefs and the goals and the visions.
100%. So your question is how to do that.
How do you establish that? You just start just running through people until you find ones that align?
That's one of the worst things a human could ever do.
Or you create them from the people?
100%. We come into this world.
And how do you do that? Simply put. We don't need no Aristotle.
No. Well, this is the thing. I'm sorry,
We don't
but
need no Aquinas.
I'm sorry. If it was simple,
we don't need Maximilian.
if it was simple, Brad, people would do it.
Exactly.
It is not simple. But what is simple
do you do
this
it?
is simple. This is simple. Write down your values and teach your people things that you do to be successful. And instead of telling them, show them. You don't make cold calls, make the cold call in front of them. Don't let your pride of what you've succeeded in the past stop you from what you've done. That's something. People that listen to this, if they're not showing people. So I got respect when people didn't trust me because of age or this or that and the third.
So pretty soon you have to do all the jobs.
You have to show other
If I'm
leaders.
paying you to cold call, why do I got to do it?
Okay, it's the exact contradiction to why anyone would buy training. If no one is showing them before they learn, they're not going to ever learn it because they're not going to believe it.
It's not about learning it. It's about culture, wanting to do it. There's the difference.
Every human wants to self-actualize. Every human wants purpose. Every human wants to be competent at things. They're not going to be competent unless they're trained. So it goes back to the school thing. If you're telling people to do something and you're not showing them, it'll create something in psychology called cognitive dissonance, where they're like,
You can't see him, but he's doing the double.
yeah, I got two birds right here. F you. That's
Hey,
what they're doing in their head.
You just tapped on something that I want to expand upon.
Let's do it.
You said something that meant people don't like what they're not good at. People want to be good at something.
Let's talk about that. That's everything. It's competence.
We just tapped into some vein of gold right there, because sometimes you have the right people in the wrong seat.
Oh, 100%.
So there's companies out there right now that might have good people, but they're not like that passionate employee you're looking for, and it may be because you have them in the wrong seat and they're not good. They don't feel good about what they're doing, so therefore it's distracting them.
That's a variable, and so is the meetings and the training. They're both interrelated. And just because you have one doesn't mean you don't need the other. Like, you need both, and you need other ones too. So,
But what about Steve Jobs? Like, he walked around, according to his book, as a prick. Like, he would fire you on the way up in an elevator.
Yes. So Jack Welch was like that.
Technically a prick.
Jack Welch was like
So
that.
how did he build one of the biggest companies in the world, most successful, changing lives?
Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence.
Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence.
So you're.
I'll bomb that.
Yeah, just bob it. That's a one you got to listen
But,
to.
but I'm sure there's a culture at Apple.
Guys, there was a culture.
The cultures probably don't fuck with Steve.
Stalin had a culture. It worked out for him, but not for a lot of people. It's not a moralist. It's not about morality here. It's about they are consistent with their behavior, and they enroll other people into that belief system, and then they teach them stuff. Okay.
So what happens? You know,
I would say it's the blind leading the blind in that case.
yeah,
A lot of people.
What happens? You have a group of employees, and you want them all to get along, and act like a team, but you have a couple that are bickering.
Oh, that's a good one.
And
This is a good
couple
one.
of them that like really don't like each other. How do you get them to like each other?
You don't push a string, you pull it.
There's a ball.
That's a John Maxwell one. I got to give him credit.
Yeah,
I love him.
That's
He's
a good
guy.
one. That's
Yeah.
a good one.
Yeah, so that's cancer. So let's look at cancer. If you focus on the cancer, it's going to expand. You operate at a high level of what? The same thing that got you there, which is you're leading by example, which is you're learning your people, you're making time for that, the values are clear. Those people, number one, nothing is finite. So you're not going to have zero attrition. I'm talking about having 5% turnover versus 100% or more. And those people will be gone.
You go into companies and help them do this.
Yeah, I mean, this is my.
Have you
should
ever
have probably told
went
the
to a
story.
company and recognized 10 people that need to be shot immediately?
Usually the owner,
The owner needs to get shot immediately.
with a shot of trying to sell that.
No, but really.
No, really,
It's
it's
you ever notice employees that probably shouldn't be in that culture?
That's like me
If they
going.
wanna
That's
fix
like me
it.
going to your house and saying your daughter shouldn't be in your house.
Sometimes my daughter shouldn't be in the house. Depends on what she's doing.
Well, like biologically speaking, right? They're still your daughters. The employees don't necessarily need to be here, but they'll want to be here when you're that light of shining armor that lays down that foundation. And now, is it perfect? No, but it starts with finding it. That translates to you understanding the conversation at a high level, which you have to. It's not a simple conversation. Everyone would do it. The second thing is how you hire is based on those values and the personality testing involved in figuring out what role is the best for their mindset and their skill set. And then you move into like, all right, well, what is the time block of the company? What is the company really? The company is just an idea that you started, and then other people said, oh, I like that idea, I'll work for it. And other people said, oh, I like that idea, I'll buy it. And that's just the company. So if you don't have
or
a...
some people said, I need that check, I'll take the job.
Sure. And if 100%.
Like when I used to
100%.
sell cars growing up, I didn't necessarily.
No, okay, so that proves my point. You were a lost puppy.
I may have been.
And just
But
because...
I was showing up selling cars to make money.
Yes, for
And
yourself.
yes, I believed in cars, but at the end of the day, I can't think back at a dealership that there was a culture.
No,
Or there was a culture, because
There's always a
the
culture. It's
was
alignment,
sell
Brad.
cars or get the fuck out of here.
It's cultural. So what alignment means is the leadership's belief systems are now in the head, like, of the followers. You are not in that car dealership anymore for two reasons: culture and systems. Meaning, the culture wasn't aligned to where the leader was, like, they're always growing and you're growing up to them, and the systems, as in there wasn't a fiscal reason to stay. You have to have both, especially in the millennial age, this information age. People need to feel like they're a part of something, and the financial reward must be based on incentive as well, because we have two effing hemispheres in our brain: logic and emotion. You know,